Welcome back to the Warbird Mistress. Today is Tuesday the 9th of June, 1942, and this is A Walk Through the War. Let me start by first thanking my new Patreon patrons. I'm very excited to see more people demonstrate their thankfulness and trust in the channel through their support. I also want to thank the channel members, donors, and all of you who like, subscribe, and share the videos. I got a great deal out of the little bull session that came out of the poll that I had posted, so do know that I am absolutely listening to your suggestions, and I thank you for all of them. With that, let's take our first step in this walk as we go this Tuesday to the American Theater of Operations with the 11th Air Force in Alaska, as patrols are flown, but encounter no aircraft or Japanese surface vessels in their search around the Aleutians. In the zone of the interior, the 103rd Observation Squadron Medium of the 26th Observation Group moves from Hillsgrove Army Airfield, Rhode Island, to Hyannis Airport, Massachusetts, with their O-47s and O-52s, as they continue their ASW patrols now out of Cape Cod. And across the ocean in the European Theater of Operations with the 8th Air Force, the 2nd contingent of personnel for HQ 8th Air Force and the subordinate commands, including the main body of the 8th Air Force Services Command, arrives in the UK. The ground echelon of the 27th Fighter Squadron, 1st Fighter Group, arrives at Gawks Hill, Lincolnshire from the United States. The 15th Bombardment Squadron Light of the 8th Bomber Command moves from Grafton Underwood near Kettering, Northamptonshire, 18 miles to Molesworth, Cambridgeshire, across the River Nene as they approach their first mission on 4 July with their Boston 3s. The only American unit with aircraft at the time in the UK, they fly a variant that has increased fuel and armor compared to earlier Bostons, and developed in February of 1940, prior to the American adoption of the model as the A-20 Havoc in 1941. On the other side of the world, with the 7th Air Force in the Pacific Ocean area, Brigadier General Howard C. Davidson, Commanding General 7th Fighter Command, becomes Commanding General 7th Air Force. And with the 5th Air Force in the Southwest Pacific area, Lae and Salamaua, New Guinea are once again the targets of B-17s, B-25s, and B-26s flying out of Australia. And that takes us to Wednesday, the 10th of June, 1942. In Alaska, a local patrol is flown by the 11th Air Force out of Umnak Island, while the 8th Air Force in the European Theater of Operations sees the arrival in port of the famous liner-turned-troop transport, the Queen Elizabeth. She brings with her the ground echelons of many of the first units to take up positions in the UK. At Polbrook, the headquarters of 97th Bomber Group Heavy, with the group's 340th and 414th Bomber Squadrons arriving tomorrow. At Gawks Hill, the 1st Fighter Group's HQ unit and the 71st and 94th Fighter Squadrons. At Achim, the 31st Fighter Group's HQ and 308th Fighter Squadron, with the 307th Fighter Squadron arriving tomorrow. At Chelveston, the 60th Transport Group HQ with the 12th Transport Squadron, and tomorrow the 10th and 11th Transport Squadrons arriving. And finally, the 5th Air Depot Group assigned to 8 Air Services Command. The air echelons will follow in time, and those of the 97th Bomb Group will tomorrow be ordered to return to New England now that the Pacific threat has abated and they can once more be prepared to ship off to the UK. In the Southwest Pacific area, with the 5th Air Force, the headquarters of the 38th Bombardment Group Media moves from Amberley Field to Eagle Farms, Australia, where today stands the south end of Brisbane Airport. In the Japanese-held areas, Rabaul is once again struck by B-17s. Japanese buildings and aircraft are the targets, and once more the bombers go unmolested in their strike over New Britain. That being said, their altitude and lack of experience make the success rate of these raids irregular at best. And finally, a much more exciting day is ahead of us for Thursday, 11 June 1942. The 11th Air Force in Alaska is the seat of most of the action, as the air echelon of the 21st Bombardment Squadron of the 30th Bombardment Group, based out of Marchfield Riverside, begins operating from Umnak Island with their B-24s. Their first mission is an exciting one, as the 11th Air Force strikes at Kiska Island for the first time with orders from Admiral Nimitz to, quote, bomb the enemy out of Kiska. He sent this to Patrol Wing 4 and to Lieutenant Colonel William Erickson, 28th Composite Group Commanding, and the senior Army Air Force officer in the region. He combines his forces with the Navy's PBYs and their tender USS Gillis in Nizan Bay off Adka Island. Gillis is a converted Clemson-class destroyer serving as a seaplane tender. The 36th Bomb Squadron with their B-17s and the newly arrived 21st with their B-24s take off from Cold Bay on Umnak, led by Colonel Erickson himself in the lead aircraft. Due to mechanical issues delaying the fortresses, the B-24 Liberators fly off first. The bombers received a very hot reception from the Japanese, who were by now well dug in, as seen here in a Japanese newsreel of the attack. The lead ship in the approach, piloted by Captain Jack Todd, took a direct hit in the bomb bay just as the approach began and exploded, destroying the B-24 and damaging 2 others in the formation. All 5 of the Liberators' bomb loads landed harmlessly in Kiska Bay, splashing into the frigid water just as the Navy's PBYs joined with Patwing 4 diving through the clouds to attack at only 1,000 feet above the waves. The Cats strike a single damaging hit on the destroyer Hibiki before making their escape at wave-top level, counting 3 aircrew killed and no significant damage to their Catalinas. While the escape of the Catalinas is a clean one, the Liberators are chased by 4 A-6M-2N Roof floatplane fighters until their escorts chase them off with no losses to either side. Hours later, the 5 B-17s of the 36th arrive overhead. They chose a one-by-one approach, with each fortress coming in alone, with another in line astern formation a few thousand yards behind. They strike from the low level of 3,000 feet and take the Japanese by surprise. Thinking that the Allied airstrikes for the day had ended, the flak gunners are struggling to get to their battle stations while they see the long, enormous geysers of water from near misses erupt around their 2 cruisers and a destroyer. The 5 fortresses escape without damage, and the flight claimed to have hit all 3 ships present. But recon photos revealed that all had in fact been near missed, and the Japanese warships suffered no damage at all. The Navy also gained the intelligence that there are much more than just 3 Japanese ships in the Attu and Kiska areas. And that was Tuesday the 9th of June 1942 through Thursday the 11th of June 1942. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and even consider joining the channel, which you can do for only $1 a month here on YouTube, or even supporting the channel on Patreon, which is as little as $3 a month. There's always merch to find in the store, and I just did get more totes in stock, so I hope those of you that bought them are getting great use out of them. They are pretty sturdy. In fact, I use one as a range bag. But until next time, this is Claire, and I am the Warbird Mistress. Take care.